Very good morning, students. Welcome back to the class Age of Adolescence. Next topic we have to move is voice change. So far, we have discussed about the body change and even how they are going to influence. The first thing or the first topic we have to move is voice change in boys and girls. At puberty, the voice box or the larynx begins to grow. Boys develop larger voice box. We might have noticed the harder voice in the girls and even in the boys. Compared to the girls, the voice of the boys will be harder. The growing voice box in boys can be seen as a protruding part of the throat called Adam's apple. So hereby you can see here. So thereby what happened? This Adam's apple, what happened, will be the responsible part for the changes in the voice. In adolescent boys, sometimes the muscles of the growing voice box go out of control and the voice becomes hoarse. This state may remain for a few days or weeks, after which the voice becomes normal. In girls, the larynx is hardly visible from the outside because its small size. Generally, girls have a high pitched voice, whereas boys have a deep voice. Adam's apple, hereby you can see that is, and this part. Increased activity of sweat and even sebaceous glands. These sweating we all know, and sebaceous glands are nothing but which the glands which secrete oil in the structure or in the body. So these are mainly responsible for the production of pimples. During puberty, the secretion of sweat glands and sebaceous, that is oil glands, increases. That is why you might have noticed during the puberty stage what happened, there will be increasing number of pimples which will be taking place in the face and even in the body. So the more number of pimples will be arising during these days. Many young people get acne and pimples on the face at this time because of the increased activity of these glands in the skin. Sebaceous gland, small oil producing glands present in the skin of a mammals. Sebaceous glands are usually attached to the hair follicles and release a fatty substance sebum into the follicular duct and then to the surface of the skin. So hereby in this structure, you can easily see that is a sebaceous glands. A sebaceous glands, thereby what happen? They are attached to the hair particles, and thereby what happen? These number of sebaceous glands which are secreting a oily glands, thereby what happen? Later, along with the hair, what happen? They will come out near the outer texture of our skin. So that is why what happens, we will be feeling that is oily skin during these days, and whenever these oil comes with the contact with the dust particle, thereby what happen, you can see dust will sits on the face, and thereby it, whenever the oil comes in contact with the dust, thereby what happen, a microbial action will be taking place, and thus what happens, you can see pimples or even acne number increases on the face. The next thing, development of sex organs. At puberty, male sex organs like testes and penis develop completely. The testes also begin to produce sperms. In girls, the ovaries enlarge and eggs begin to mature. Also, ovaries start releasing during the mature eggs. So, hereby what happened? This which we are seeing, it is nothing but the male reproductive organ, and it is nothing but female reproductive organ. In the male, what happened, testes is nothing but a reproductive organ which are going to produce sperms, whereas in girls, so hereby they will be having ovaries, they enlarge and they begin to produce the mature eggs. So reaching mental, intellectual and emotional maturity. So adolescence is also a period of change in a person's way of thinking, isn't it? So they will say think maturely and talk maturely, isn't it? Because even this maturity will mainly influence the way of our behavior, because the hormones what happen will makes us to become mature in our thinking and even in our body. Adolescents are more independent than before and are also self conscious. Intellectual development takes place and they tend to spend considerable time thinking. In fact, it is often the time in one's life when the brain has greatest capacity for learning. Sometimes, however, an adolescent may feel insecure while trying to adjust to the changes in the body and even in the mind. But as adolescent learners, you should know that there is no reason to feel insecure. These changes are a natural part of growing up. So hereby what happens, whenever during the maturity time, what happens, some body parts will start to grow. Whenever these parts start to grow, what happens, some of the children feel insecure because of these organs start to grow. They feel uncomfortable or they feel insecure. So what are the things are happening and why it is happening, so and all they'll think and they will feel very uncomfortable. But there is no thinking for this one because it is a natural part of the body. So what happens, whatever maybe the thinking has to be done, it is in a positive way. These parts will enlarge only because it is a hormonal changes which is taking place to lead for the maturity of boys and even girls. So secondary sexual characters. Testes and ovaries are the reproductive organs. They produce the gametes, that is sperms and even ova. That is sperms in the kind of a male and ova in the kind of a females. In girls, the changes which are taking place are breasts begin to develop at puberty and boys begins to grow facial hair. That is why mustaches and even beard will happen. Boys also develop hair on their chest too. In both boys and girls, hair grows under the arms and in the region above the thighs or the pubic region. As these features help to distinguish the male from the female, they are called secondary sexual characters. So, apart from this maturity, thereby what happen, even the body development or even the hair growth in certain body parts, what happen, will be able to differentiate a boy and a girl. Thus, what happen, these differences they are going to call it as sexually secondary characters.